July. And this morning we have Jianguang Shen, who's the Chief Greater China Economist at Mizuho Securities. Nice to see you, Jianguang. Let's talk about these export numbers. Were they surprising at all, considering they beat the average economist forecast? Not your numbers, though, pretty much in line.
Yeah, to me, I think this is probably the last month we will see some Chinese export growth year on year over 40%. Actually, I have to point out that even look at this very strong year-on-year number, but it's just actually just slightly over the peak reached in 2008. So we are just returned back
to the pre-crisis levels,
exactly.
Right? But so after July, we're not going to see these sort of export numbers anymore.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because we're going to see European demand slow, U.S. demand slow.
Yes.
And then what about the RMB appreciation? Is that going to play in?
I think the RMB has already appreciated against the euro by around 15%. So I think this is another important fact we need to look at. But Europe is China the largest export market. And also we are seeing that the Chinese government is scraping this export rebate for many products after 15th of July. I think that will also have an important effect.
Yeah, and then you have rising wages as well. So
yeah.
All that factors in, doesn't it? Okay, so if we see exports going down in China, then what about what we saw for the money supply and also the loan numbers as well? Because it seems like the economy is still swash with cash, $600 billion in loans made last month.
Yeah, but actually, if you look at this first half year, so we are seeing the figure of 4.6 trillion. So it's actually in line with government target of 4.5 trillion. So I think for this credit and monetary conditions, the PBOC, the central bank, is quite satisfied. So to me, probably they are actually adopting a quite tight policy stance in the first half. So in the second half, in view of this slowing down in exports, I believe the government will adopting a more accommodative monetary policy to stimulate domestic demand.
Okay, I should correct myself. It's not $600 billion, it's 600 billion yuan worth of new loans last month. Now, how is that filtering in through the economy? Because we just got those the property prices this morning, and we saw property prices basically rising 11.9% from a year earlier in the month of June, which is the slowest pace, I think, in 4 months or so. Is this a sign of tightening still? I mean, 4 months, I mean, hasn't the Chinese government been at this a lot longer than just 4 months in terms of trying to tighten down the property sector?
Yeah, I think after this, we need to think about it's only starting to have adopted policy after 17th of April. So just after 2 months, we are seeing a fairly rapid slowdown in year-on-year growth. But I believe month on month, in major cities, we are seeing a decline in price already. So also we are seeing this sales volume down by something major city, 40%. This is a fairly strong reaction.
Yeah, and do you expect us to see property prices decline even further this year?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, to what extent?
To me, actually, I wrote a report already. I believe in April, after all the strong measures, I believe major cities price will decline by up to 30%. So we are seeing something around 10 to 15%.
30% decline in major
from the
cities.
Peak. Yeah, if you think about from the peak, 30%. Let's just go back to the average level in 2009. So actually, we see a very rapid price increase in 2009. Even the first quarter of this year. So actually even 30% decline, we are going back to the average of 2009. I think that's actually quite good. The government probably can declare victory if they see this kind of number.
Now that's interesting because, Ken Rogoff, the economist, also Jim Chin as a hedge fund manager, pointing to the Chinese property sector as a pinpoint for a possible collapse in the Chinese economy. Do you see it being a bubble right now that might be bursting at the seams?
Yeah, if I see it's a bubble, but not a big bubble. So I think it's a small to medium-sized bubble. It's already been deflated. So to me, that's the reason I think the government will adopting a more accommodative policy towards consumption and also probably towards infrastructure investment in the second half in order to support the economy in view of slowing down in export demand.
Okay. Jianguang, thank you for stopping by. Nice seeing you.